Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to the channel. This is the Average Fan channel, taking on the average perspective for Chicago sports. These are the Cubs videos where we have game breakdowns, we have roster moves, we give our opinions on what we see. We aren't overly analytical here, but we just talk about what we see, what we like, and what we don't like. If you enjoy the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends, and let's build the community together. Until then, we'll catch you in the next one. Hey, Chicago Cubs fans, it is AJ, your average fan here. We are recording this live on kick.com/, the average gamer 714. We just got done doing our gaming stream, and we are now in the portion where we talk about Chicago Cubs. It has been a while since I have done a YouTube video for you guys. I apologize. Work and life has gotten heavily in the way, but we have gotten back into the streaming. So now we are moving back into doing YouTube videos for you guys that love to talk about Chicago sports. Now, we won't go through everything that was missed while I was gone. What we will do today is with the off day for Monday, we will go over the Cubs series against the Pirates. It was a division rival series. It was a very bland series, but also very fun to watch all at the same time because it was very low scoring. It was very low scoring. It was very much a nail biter. They were all one-run games the entire series. The entire series was one-run games, which is insane. The Cubs took 3 out of 4 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And yeah, there's some interesting things that we got to talk about. PCA is still doing very much PCA things. He's tracking out balls in the outfield that is absolutely astronomically insane that the average center fielder may not be able to go and get. Nico Horner has made some insane defensive plays. Matt Shaw has been making insane defensive plays since coming back from AAA a couple of months ago. He's struggling at the plate a little bit right now, but I feel like you could justify having Matt Shaw just because of his defensive glove, because of the carousel of guys that the Chicago Cubs had at third base. He gives you a lot of added stability there. This was definitely a series of starting pitching and bullpen pitching, and there is no doubt about that. There was 2 games that went 10 innings, one of which the Cubs won, one of which they lost. But nonetheless, these games were extremely, extremely fun to watch. I loved watching each and every single one of them. So we will again start off with I think I have 2 of these backwards. Um, just give me 1 second here. I just want to make sure that I got these right for you guys. So it was win 3-2, loss. That one goes there. So that one goes there, and this one goes over here. I think I got these right. Okay, we got them in the right order. My bad. So, we will start off with the first game from the series. That would be Thursday's game. It was Tyone versus Heaney, and based on the matchups here, Tyone always been very strong at home. He has a whole bunch of string of starts at home, going 6 innings or more. He did go 6.1, 6 and 2, or I'm sorry, 6 and a third. In this one, he gave up 2 earned runs, and that was about it. That was all that Cubs pitching let up on the day. Again, this whole series, very much so a pitcher's duel all the way through from start to finish. Both lineups heavily struggled. I mean, if we look at the Cubs side, Ian Happ 0 for 4, Tucker 1 for 4, Suzuki 1 for 3, Crow Armstrong 1 for 3, Swanson 0 for 3. We will also make a note on Dansby Swanson here in a minute. Kelly 0 for 3, Bush 0 for 2, Horner 0 for 3. Yeah, it was a bad day. You know, 4 hits, 3 runs. That is it. 9 strikeouts, 1 walk for the Cubs. That was their final stat line. However, hats off to the bullpen all series long because Keller, Palencia, and Presley all pitched in this game. You had Keller go 2/3, Palencia and Presley go an inning, didn't give up anything. So the Cubs pitching doing what they need to do. Game one, finishing out there, getting the Pirates 3-2 in this contest. Now, the Cubs struck first. They go and put up 2 in the fourth. They scored again in the sixth. You know, Pete Crow Armstrong hitting that big 2-run homer. Seiya Suzuki getting a solo homer in this game, and that was the difference. Tyone pitched just absolutely beautifully all the way into the sixth. He got the first out. And then it went off the rails extremely fast. But nonetheless, for as fast as it went off the rails for Tyone, Keller came in and slammed the door shut. Palencia and Presley closed out that game. So your Cubs win that game 3-2, advance to 42-27. We move into Friday's game. This game went 10 innings. The Cubs got 1 lone run in the 8th inning. And it was Pete Crow. No, that is not a scoring play. Where's the scoring play? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Yeah, so Dansby Swanson reached on a fielder's choice, and that is where the Cubs got their lone run of the game. So that was pretty unfortunate. Again, you know, stellar pitching on both sides. The Cubs did get Skeens out in the fifth, so that is worth mentioning because Skeens has been light out all year long. Sucks for him though because really, for him to not have the amount of wins that he should have, all things considered, I think that you know the Pirates are just doing him so dirty because Paul Skeens is a phenomenal pitcher, but Cade Horton really went pitch for pitch with him. Cade Horton went 5 2/3. He didn't allow any runs actually. Keller allowed a run and Pomerantz allowed a run there at the end, but 5 2/3 out of Horton with no runs. Then Thielbar, Brazier, and Palencia all through without allowing a run. Excellent work out of the bullpen again. Pomerantz allowed a run there in the 10th inning. It was just unfortunate the way that you lose that game in the 10th. You know, and then you also had runners on second and third in the bottom of the 10th and couldn't score, which was really unfortunate. Actually, I think Dansby Swanson grounded into a double play, and then McGuire struck out to end that game. So really not a whole lot to talk about here in game two. It was just, again, another pitcher's duel. You look at Happ, 1 for 3, Tucker, 1 for 4, Suzuki, 2 for 5. He was the bright spot in the lineup on Friday. Crow Armstrong, 1 for 4, Swanson, 0 for 4. I mean, it was just brutal. All series long. It was brutal to be able to get anything. 1 run on 8 hits, 3 walks, 7 Ks. So, you know, with the Cubs handing in that loss, it moves them to 42-28. But the rest of the series was actually very fun to watch. Again, it was mostly just pitchers duels. It was the bullpen that really did the legwork in this entire series. The bullpen did a phenomenal job. Boyd pitching himself to a 2.79 ERA in this game. Boyd going 6 innings, 1 earned. Phenomenal work. And then Presley, Pomerantz, Palencia slammed the door on the Pirates. Again, same for the batters. It was, you know, Happ 0 for 3, Tucker 2 for 4, Suzuki 0 for 4, PCA 1 for 3, Swanson 1 for 3. It's just, the hitters really kind of hit a slump for a little while. But this is what good teams do. Good teams find ways to win, right? So as long as the Cubs keep finding ways to win, I have no doubts that the bats will come back around. Palencia getting another save. And just on a quick side note, before we talk about this last game here, well, actually, we'll talk about it after we talk about this last game. We'll get into this last game here, but with that win, the Cubs moved to 43 and 28. So if we come into Sunday's game, the Cubs win 3-2 in 10. Ian Happ with a walk-off single, handing Bednar the loss. He is 1-5 with a 3.38 ERA. Bednar struggling a little bit this season. But with that 3-2, the Cubs move up to 44 and 28. It's same stuff. I mean, with the batters, I mean, Ian Happ 1 for 4, Crow Armstrong 0 for 4, Suzuki 0 for 4, Bush 2 for 4, Swanson 2 for 4, Horner 1 for 4. It was just not a hitter's. This series was just not hitter's paradise. And for the pitching to shine the way that it did, you had Ray go 6 innings pitched, 2 earned, Thielbar, Cabrera, Presley, Flexen, all going an inning, allowing no runs. I mean, the bullpen for the Chicago Cubs has been absolutely stout, phenomenal. I love what the Cubs are doing because they keep finding these ways to win, right? Um, when you can't get yourself these big blowout wins, you're leaning on your starting pitching, you're leaning on your bullpen. There's a couple of players that I want to talk about. One, I need to give a shout out to Ryan Presley. He had two really, really bad games, but in both cases, he had one bad game in the beginning of the year against Arizona. He bounced back. He did really good for a while. And then he had a really big blowout game either against the Dodgers or the Padres maybe. I can't remember who it was against, but after this blowout that was up against him, um, he went to low leverage, and now he's going back and forth between low leverage and high leverage. But he's still not getting the swing and miss, but he's keeping the ball in the infield. I don't know what he changed with his mechanics, but he's keeping the ball in the infield, and keeping the ball in the infield is extremely big when you're in the ninth inning. So big time props to Ryan Presley. I love the adjustment that I've been seeing out of him. I think that he's regaining some of Craig Counsell's trust, certainly my trust. The bullpen, the Cubs have had the best bullpen with an 0.89 ERA for well over a month now. So this bullpen, when the offense is struggling, the bullpen just keeps them right there. And that's really all that you can ask for. I mean, you need to keep finding ways to win games until your offense comes back around. And as of late, it's been your bullpen. Your bullpen has answered the call every single time. And now you are leading your division by 5.5 games. And, on top of that, you have the second best. Record in the NL. You have I think you're right there with second and tied for second in the best or third best in the entire MLB. So, because of uh, guys like Ryan and Pomerantz turning it around after a rough start, they have been doing magnificent work. On the batting side of things, on the offensive side of things, um, you know, we got to talk about Dansby Swanson. I don't understand why he's sitting 4, 5 in the batting order. He got moved down to 8 in the 8 hole there for a while, and he exploded. He hit a bunch of home runs. He was slugging. He was moving guys over. He was getting RBIs. He did a hell of a job after moving down into that 8 hole. So I just don't know why uh, he got moved back up to the 5, because there's been a couple of times where he's had guys on base where he's grounded into double plays where you want to see Nico Horner hit in that spot. Um, at the minimum, just flip Nico and Dansby Swanson in the lineup, please. Um, but I think that if you slide Swanson down, I think that he'll get his pop back. Just put him in a non-pressure situation. Keep Matt Shaw down in the order. He's struggling a little bit. I think that he'll come back up. But again, with the defensive plays that he is making, you just can't keep him out of the lineup. But with that, Chicago Cubs fans, the Cubs, big series against a division rival. They played awesome against the Pirates. Pitching wise, obviously the offense struggled. You want the offense to answer the call because we're going into a set against the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Milwaukee Brewers, they don't mess around. So you really need the offense to answer the call. I don't have any doubts about our starting pitching or our bullpen, but we need the offense to pick it back up, and we need them to pick it up right now against the Milwaukee Brewers. We need them to start getting some runs here. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll be back on tomorrow after the dust settles in the action against Milwaukee. But yeah, no, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I hope that you guys are enjoying watching Chicago Cubs baseball just as much as I am. They're doing awesome, awesome things. And, I think that it's time for the offense to get out of their slump. And I think Milwaukee could be the team to do it against. The Cubs played really good against them in Milwaukee. So now we get to play them at home. So we'll see if the Cubs could put their money where their mouth is. But, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you enjoy the rest of your evening. You have a good tomorrow whenever you're watching this video. And as always, go Cubs.